This one's probably going to be short, but I think it is pertinent. So I did not realize, I don't know why it didn't occur to me, that Richard Carrier, the guy who wrote On the Historicity of Jesus, went and had a debate on Modern Day Debate with Andrew Wilson, the guy who used to be named Big Papa Fascist. I did not know that this happened until it came across my feed. So that's okay. So I have Richard's article talking about how he feels the debate went. I'm not going to go into the entire thing because I just texted him. Right? I was just like, hey, I saw you debated Andrew Wilson. He's like, that was a waste of time. The entire thing was a waste of time, and watching the debate is a waste of time. Like, okay. You know what? That's fair. So, but there's this clip that James has from Modern Day Debate, and I've had my criticisms of James, and I will continue to have them. I think that Modern Day Debate is an entertainment structure that argues that it's facilitating debate on both sides, but really what it is the modern day internet blood sports. It's nothing more and nothing less. Jess says, who's Andrew Wilson? He's one of the guys that thinks that women shouldn't vote. One of the many. Again, he used to go by the name Big Papa Fascist. He is on Modern Day Debate a lot. He is on the Whatever podcast a lot. He actually was on a debate with Matt Dillahunty. And I want to show you how that went. Because I sympathize with Matt here. I really do. And I still have a lot of respect for Matt, despite our falling out. I have a lot of respect for him, and so I think he made the right decision here. But let me find it here. Matt Dillahunty, Andrew Wilson. So do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
Thanks, Andrew, for being here, and all of you for showing up. Humanism has as its focus the betterment of humanity in this life, while Christianity has as its focus adherence to a God and the disposition of souls in an afterlife. Our best efforts in this life are, according to the Bible, like filthy rag. Okay, so we're not going to go over this entire debate, but I want to show you about how things went in the end. You can watch the debate if you want. There's certainly things to be garnered from it when you watch it, but...
I am. Okay. You're so indignant.
50 minutes and let's kick it.
No, I don't think so. I'm not going to sit here and dignify the preparation that I went through and what people were here for.
You're so indignant.
Keep interrupting me.
I am. Okay. You're so indignant.
Would the moderator like to step in so that I can finish what I'm saying?
Please, Matt. Please. How dare someone have an opposing worldview?
I'm not going to sit here and dignify what was supposed to be a debate about Christianity versus secular humanism, which one's better for the world.
Yes.
With someone who clearly showed up with an agenda that has nothing to do with that. Someone who refers to trans people as deranged lunatics who will self-terminate if you dare to question them.
How am I wrong, Matt?
Someone who misrepresents a quote from a debate where I said I wouldn't make a law about 9-year-olds having sex being legal with respect to the 9-year-olds, not that I was in any way in favor of it, and that I was actually opposed to it, which I addressed during that debate.
Dorita says Andrew called Matt's wife. Arden Hart is Matt's wife. And in his opening statements, he called Arden a guy. That's disrespectful for one, but it's Andrew. He's always going to be that. But also, I don't think anybody with even like 2 brain cells to rub together can look at Arden and think, dude, I don't think anybody does. I don't think anybody can. It doesn't make any sense.
But moreover, this is not remotely an honest interaction on the front of whether or not secular humanism is valuable. Because this, when he presented his position here, has nothing to do with secular humanism. From the get-go, it's all about me. Matt thinks. I'm giving what Matt thinks.
Matt's position.
I came in with the Secular Humanist Manifesto. I came in with positions that aren't that aren't merely my positions.
Oh, well, as long as multiple people hold the position,
this guy's not serious, and I'm leaving. James, if you want a refund, you let me know.
Well, good day, sir. And I'll cover your refund, Mr. Cool. Matt.
He just said he'd cover my refund.
I would cover his refund.
No. Nope.
So, I agree with Matt 100% with what he did here. Because there is no debate I have seen with Andrew Wilson once ever where he has shown that he is anybody to be taken seriously. And the unilateral consensus from anybody that I have talked to who have debated him, they have come away saying the exact same things. Not So Erudite followed up with her after her debate on the Whatever podcast, had the same thing to say. Richard Carrier sent him a text right after I saw that he had the debate, said the same exact thing. Matt Dillahunty, watching him right here, and he says the same thing. Every single one of them has come away with the exact same opinion of Andrew, and that is that he is not a person to be taken seriously. And there's got to be somebody who says that I'm poisoning the water there, but no. Let's go ahead and take a listen to this soundbite that is not clipped by me. This is clipped by James. This is clipped by Modern Day Debate, or at the very least, an editor that works for James. Let's go ahead and listen here. Again, this is same guy who was against Matt Dillahunty a second ago, Andrew Wilson, against Richard Carrier.
This moment changed the entire debate.
That's not my question. My question is, can you name a single Christian nationalist right now who is proposing anything other than just amending laws and tailoring them to their own preferences?
Wait, so let me see if I understand what you're asking. For example, the kill the gays people, for instance.
When there's no Christian nationalist seriously proposing to kill homosexuals.
So, real quick, the statement that there is no Christian nationalist proposing to kill homosexuals. None. Not one. All right. That's cool. So anybody who's been following my channel for a long time knows who Steven Anderson is. He's the guy in charge of the new Independent Fundamental Baptist Church. He is by definition a Christian nationalist. He is banned in multiple countries, 34 to be exact. Look up Steven Anderson Rule 34 if you don't believe me. And he is well known for multiple sermons saying that we should be killing gay people, that the government should be killing gay people. Multiple sermons. 3 of Anderson's children came out claiming that they abused them. Their stories share many similarities, including beatings with an electrical cord and a pervasive environment of emotional manipulation and control where they were forced to hide the truth about violence in the household. In an interview with Dead Domain, Dead Domain reference. They need to respond to my message about the Third Space Arcade. They asked me about the project after I mentioned it was happening, and then they disappeared. That's fine. That's fine. It's not the first time that's happened. There's a subset of my friends that I expect that I drop a message on, and then I'll get a message back in like a month. And that is... There are just some people who are like that, and Dead Domain and Vosh are 2 of them. Said, I arrived just in time, it seems. Alex one, speaking of friends who take a while to respond to things, Alex one who either will respond in 2 seconds or will respond a week later, and there is no in between. And it's usually faster if I mention Sonic the Hedgehog. I say that because Alec just arrived in the chat. Anyway, in an interview with Dead Domain, Miriam Anderson, 17, described a cycle of physiological and psychological abuse from both parents. Currently classified by police as a runaway under her 18th birthday, Miriam is the most recent of Anderson's children to speak out about alleged domestic abuse. Now, that is not super important for here. I mean, the domestic abuse is important. But in the sermon, Anderson says his children, who he calls my accusers, teamed up with a Satan-worshipping transvestite, using anti-trans and anti-gay slurs to question the legitimacy of Dead Domain. Yes, because Dead Domain wearing women's clothes definitely undermines every position that they've ever had. Weird. Justice says, didn't Steven Anderson make a YouTube channel about shitty AI music dedicated to Dead Domain? I don't think it was him. Steven Anderson, the self-appointed leader of the New Independent Fundamental Baptist Church for more than a decade, has advocated for the execution of gay people. And it's in the title and everything there. I didn't grab the specific sermon where he was doing it because it's been covered a billion times. Then we have this guy.
No queers, no homos. They're not allowed in his Tempe church. That's what a pastor is preaching to his congregation.
But then he goes on to say that in order to have an AIDS-free world by Christmas, gays should all be killed.
Tremaya is here with more on...
I lied. I lied to you 110% because I know who said those exact words. I pulled this clip because I saw the title and I knew what it was going to be, but I didn't remember who it was going to be.
This shocking sermon, Tram.
Fairly certain
more hate
that it's him.
This church. I see a lot of drama.
It's him. It's him. It's Steven Anderson.
No
it's him.
queers allowed in this church.
I knew it.
I see a lot of drama. No homos will ever be allowed on this church as long as I'm the pastor here. Never!
That's very offensive when he says homo.
All homos are pedophiles. There, I said it. They're all pedophiles.
But don't worry, Andrew
Just
Wilson.
define man to include female.
Don't worry, Andrew. I agree. I agree. There's no Christian nationalist who believes we should be killing all the gay people. None whatsoever. Anyway, the Sodomite Suppression Act, also known as the Shoot the Gays Initiative or the Kill the Gays Initiative, was a ballot initiative proposed by McLaughlin, an Orange County lawyer in California in 2015. By the way, just letting you guys know. He had a similar biblical inspiration for the initiative in 2004, where he sponsored the King James Bible as textbook initiative, which would amend the Constitution to allow teachers to use the Bible in literature classes. His proposal was received by the office, along with a $200 filing fee. State Attorney General Kamala Harris was compelled to provide an official title and summary before the initiative's signature collective effort could proceed. Harris cited public safety and constitutionality of the initiative, stating, "The proposal not only threatens public safety, it is patently unconstitutional, utterly reprehensible, and has no place in a civil society." She asked the Supreme Court to relieve her of her obligation, freeing the author to seek the signatures. Harris is widely seen as being supportive of LGBTQ people, and wanted to not be part of a process that seeks to legalize discrimination and vigilantism, unless there was no alternative. Once authorized, it needs 365,880 valid signatures to qualify for the 2016 electoral ballot. Harris actively did what she could to stop a fucking maniac Christian nationalist lawyer from proposing that we slaughter all of the gay people wholesale. But again, Andrew, we should be taking you very seriously when you have your debate with Richard Carrier and you say no Christian nationalist wants to kill the gays, except for the ones that do. Dorito found the timestamp, by the way, where Andrew said what he did about Arden.
Can't have babies? Men can have babies, because we just defined man to include females, dummy. Well, Matt, I remain unconvinced. I'd like Matt to convince me that if you are a male and you are having sex with another...
Wait, hold on a fucking minute, wait. Their debate was supposed to be about Christianity as a concept versus secular humanism as a concept. Why are there ad hominem attacks being aimed at Matt about his marriage? Also, isn't it so weird that Andrew Wilson on the Whatever podcast got so fucking pissed when that one girl said what she did about Rachel Wilson, about his wife, when he said, "Don't put my wife's name in your mouth. Don't do that. How dare you?" Why is it that when his spouse gets attacked, he gets to be an indignant little shit for brains, but when it's Matt Dillahunty, he might as well go ahead and aim for the spouse the entire time? That doesn't make any sense to me. Oh, right, it's because he's a hypocritical piece of shit. That's why that happens. I forgot. Rules for thee and not for me. That's Andrew Wilson, everybody.
For male, which would not be allowed in my version of a secular humanist worldview. How is it that you're not just basically having sex with a guy with a wig on? I really want to know the answer to that question, not just...
Yeah, the question has to do with personal identity, phenotypical presentation, presentation of the genitalia. It has to do with a bunch of other concepts that you're not going to look at because they're from Biology 2.0. But I understand you refuse to look at any of that. I understand. By the way, I don't think that Andrew Wilson knows what a gamete is, by the way. Anyway... So as the quote article, Australia becomes the 33rd country to ban entry to pastor who said gay people should die. Yeah, I said the Rule 34 thing, but I wasn't being super far off.
Me, but all rational people who aren't lunatics also want to know why "it's ma'am" isn't a complete and total crock of garbage.
The "it's ma'am" thing is referring to a memed video from a trans woman who was in a GameStop who decided to make a scene about her gender. And then that became the thing that everybody pointed to for like 2 years.
Because I remain unconvinced that it isn't a total lie, and that these people don't just pervert the language to include their own perversions and then add human flourishing at the end.
So again, none of that has to do with secular humanism or anything else. Matt was perfectly right to walk away from that. 100%. 100%. So just as no associate quote, the Anderson thing, gotcha. Said just 2 years? I swear it's been a decade at this point. It's been more than 2 years since the ma'am thing. I said a few years ago. At least I think I said a few years ago. Anyway, back to this clusterfuck. Oh, sorry. I had one more example of a Republican who has, at the very least, joked about killing the gay people. And, you know, I don't know, Andrew. It's almost like we shouldn't take anything you say seriously. You say things out of convenience, not because you truly believe them. You say things because they win you the argument in the moment, but it doesn't stop you from being a piece of shit. You said it was memed for like 2 years? Oh, right, yeah, it was memed for like 2 years. The "it's ma'am" thing turned into just nomenclature after a bit, instead of people constantly playing the actual video. Mike Hill joked about killing gay people, then he clashed with Republican leaders. Representative Mike Hill exchanged testy text messages with legislative leaders from his own party after the Pensacola Republican joked at a political event about killing gay people. He drew bipartisan criticism, including calls for his resignation for comments he made at May 23rd event held by Women for Responsible Legislation. On audio recordings of the exchange, first reported by the Pensacola News Journal on May 31st, someone can be heard asking Hill if he could file legislation imposing the death penalty for a man who has an affair with another man. The attendee said, in 1 Corinthians, it says that a man who has an affair with another man will be put to death. Another person said, could you introduce legislation? And Hill says, I wonder how that would go over. After the recording was made public, Hill faced near universal backlash, drawing condemnation in a joint statement from fellow Republicans, the House Speaker Jose Oliva, and Representative Chris Fowles, who is in line to be the next House Speaker, at least was at the time. The rebuke angered Hill, according to text messages obtained by Politico. Said, you should have called me before you joined the mob, Hill texted. Yeah, no, maybe when somebody says, hey, can we kill the gays? You shame them. Maybe that's what you do. Also, I lied. I didn't have just one more. Like when I said I didn't have Steven Anderson's thing, I have another one, actually. The Alabama mayor who suggested killing out the gay people. Mark Chambers, who lumped homosexuals and transvestites together with baby killers and socialists in a social media post. The Carbon Hill mayor reportedly maintained his words had been taken out of context before apologizing. A gay rights group has demanded for his resignation. The mayor could not immediately be reached for comment. He commented on the post, said, the only way to change it would be to kill the problem out. I know it's bad to say, but without killing them, there's no way to fix it. Without killing all the gays, we can't fix our gay problem, guys. But don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry, bud. Andrew. You are a person who should be taken seriously. Despite the fact that you do nothing but ad hominems when you have the ability to have a reasonable debate. Despite the fact that when you say words, they turn out to be not true, because it's very easy in the United States to point to Christian nationalists who think that gay people should be killed and are willing to lump gay people and trans people into groups so that they can have the killing be even easier for them. It's very easy to find this shit on the internet. It took me 2 seconds of Googling, my guy. No time at all. And that's only 20 seconds into your debate with Richard.
Yes, absolutely. Who? So there was a guy who ran in Texas, had got like 100,000 votes.
Oh boy, howdy, that's another person. I didn't pull the guy who ran in Texas and got 100,000 votes. I didn't pull that one. Then again, I looked this up in 3 minutes, and Richard takes a lot more time than that to prepare for debates.
On the kill the gays biblical policy concept.
So come on, this is not serious. There's no serious political movement for this.
The ones who couldn't get elected here went to Uganda.
There's no... So, notice the Mott and Bailey. I want you to hear the original statement, and then I want you to notice the bait and switch.
Can you name a single Christian nationalist right now who is proposing anything other than just amending laws and tailoring them to their own preferences?
Wait, so like, let me see if I understand what you're asking. For example, the kill the gays people.
Other than just amending...
Can you name a single one? Okay. So Richard names a single one
on the kill the gays biblical policy concept.
So come on, this is not serious. There's no serious political movement for this.
And now suddenly it's, can you name one Christian nationalist? It turns into, can you name a serious political movement? That wasn't what you said before, my guy. That wasn't what you said at all. Suddenly there's no serious group. Also the fucking NIFB. Yeah, there's no serious group except the NIFB. There's no serious group except the KKK. There's no serious group except. There's no serious group except. There's no serious group except. Constantly. Constantly. Sean says it's moving the goalpost. So the fallacy is moving the goalpost. The strategy is the Mott and Bailey. Hannah, thank you so much for the raid. How are you doing? We're covering Andrew Wilson having debates with atheist creators and the ways in which he's an asshole. So the Mott and Bailey is an informal manipulation of an argument where a person conflates a controversial, hard-to-define claim, the Bailey, with a similar and modest and easy-to-defend claim, the Mott. When challenged, the speaker retreats to the Mott to appear reasonable, only to reassert the Bailey later. Remember, the Bailey that was presented was, can you name a single one, which is very easy to do. And then the more defensible Mott is, can you name a serious organization? And again, we can. The NIFB exists. It's easy. It's super easy. But he would find another way. He would find another Mott to fall to. And the whole thing with the Mott and Bailey is eventually they will reassert the Bailey. Jess said I had to break for the stream because it was real bad. There's no serious group except Clarence Thomas at all. Harold E. Brown says we just finished the QAnon mom murder case. The what? I'm unaware? Jesus Christ. Every word you said terrified me more than the last.
Here went to Uganda and got it done there, and actually got Uganda to actually start trying to kill the gays. And then, of course,
I don't think Uganda needed much help with that.
So, can you name a serious political movement? Okay, well, this political movement went to Uganda and actually made it happen. Well, I don't think Uganda needed a lot of help with that. Again, retreating to the more defensible Mott every single time. The question was never, how easy would it be to get Uganda to kill the gay people? The question that you presented was very simply, can you name one person? Then Carrier named a person. And then it became, can you name a group? And then Carrier pointed to the exact actions of a group. And then it became, well, they didn't need a lot of help with that. Andrew Wilson is not a person to be taken seriously. Andrew Wilson is a coward who pretends that he has all the bravery in the world because he's willing to argue with anybody. But he's willing to argue with anybody because it makes him money. Make no mistake, the entire reason that he exists is a parasitical relationship on the internet with the rest of the internet, where he gains money from clicks from people who get angry at his takes. Hi. It's pathetic. Dr. Baja says, hi, sirs, hope you're doing well. I just got running water for the first time in a while, so it's doing better than it was. Carol says, you know how lots of QAnoners are parents and who lose their kids and then get scammed by Sob City pseudo-lawyers and other grifters? Well, one of them decided that her grifter was actually deep state and did away with him and then tried to get the feds to debrief her. Jesus fucking Christ. And then, of course, we get Andrew wrecked him by asking an example on the assumption that his opponent couldn't give one, only for his assumption to say, oh, this one. And then Andrew shifted the goalpost at that very instant. Yeah, he sure wrecked him if your standards are on the level of a preschooler. Yep, that's funny. So, I'm gonna read the actual thing that was said. I don't want to read the text message exchange because I haven't gotten permission to do that. But we will read a little bit of Carrier's takeaway from his conversation. So dollars for clicks, that sounds like somebody who was named Charlie. I can't remember his last name. His ex-wife is J.D. Vance's future wife. My God. This month, I was invited to 2 debates at DebateCon 6 in Nashville, hosted by Modern Day Debate: The Existence of God with Michael Jones of Inspiring Philosophy, and Christian Nationalism versus Secular Humanism with Andrew Wilson. Wow, it was the same debate that Dillahunty had to walk away from because you were such a scum. Weird. It was okay, but I have thoughts. I'll first describe my personal impressions, then summarize why the Wilson debate was useless, though telling. While the Jones debate was refreshingly traditional and actually productive, but nevertheless similar in one respect. An anonymous gifter, thank you for gifting a sub to Baja. I appreciate it. Okay, I knew this would be a conservative conference, but I did not realize it was essentially a full-on Christian nationalist conference. Apart from a few strangers, mainly the invited liberals and some of their staff and supporters, and perhaps some center-rights keeping their head down, the entire audience and most of the roster were Christian nationalists. Not just Christians, not just conservatives, but full-on nationalists. And not just any Latin nationalists, but the isolationist, anti-Zionist, anti-libertarian, pro-nanny state wing of Christian nationalism, which is even to the right of the Family, or Armageddon Lobby, or the Dominionists. The Dominionists being the ones who have the Seven Mountains Mandate, BT dubs. This was clear from my conversations and observed audience reactions. Everyone was nice, polite, and generous. We were welcomed and no one felt threatened in the present, just in the future. Even Wilson was reasonably well behaved on stage. I say that in relative terms, as anyone unfamiliar might think otherwise seeing it, but he's usually much worse. And even more offstage. And, like my adventures at a Muslim debate conference 20 years ago, this afforded a rare opportunity to converse with and learn about people on the other side. What their desires and obsessions are, what their reasoning was, and their actual beliefs and epistemology. How they arrive and become convinced of anything. But these were still, essentially, people who wouldn't mind taking away a woman's right to vote, among a lot else. And, predictably, the audience was about 95% man. Well, including a very strong manosphere presence. And the few women about were mostly the wives of the men attending. Compelling marriage to save the race was a recurring theme. Although ethno-supremacism was never overtly declared, it was behind a lot of dog whistles, which evidently could be plausibly denied by the handful of conservatives attending who couldn't pass as white. And though no one ever outlined how they'd compel marriage, again, that they somehow would was often dog whistled too. Wilson mocked my mention of the state paying women to marry and raise kids, and I suspected they all disdained that idea. Women must be dependent on men, not the state. Wilson has elsewhere spoken of state propaganda promoting it, but we know it never works. And I explained why in our debate. The reason people aren't having enough kids, to his liking, is not sexual deviance, but the mere simple fact that kids are expensive. So you can't solve that problem unless you're willing to literally pay for it. They aren't willing to pay for it. Conservatives always irrationally want everything for free. That's why they keep running up the national debt. The only administration in my lifetime to start paying down rather than adding to that debt was Clinton's. And cut services and then complained about the lack of services. This is also why, despite insisting they won't, conservatives always end up resorting to the cudgel to get what they want when they can. More than one audience member tried to sell me on the death penalty for everything because surely that would put an end to crime, and crime is everything they don't want anyone doing, like choosing not to marry or have kids. Likewise, anything the state can do to make life harder for non-compliers is good. Hence, the faint buzz of coerced marriage under every denial of it. Cthulhu Follower says, so a full-on Nazi conference? No. Yes. No, not Nazis. Yes, nationalists who are adjacent enough to them to be hard to distinguish. You can be a race supremacist without having the eugenics underpinning. You're still an immoral fuck. You end up basing your positions more on like a glorified history and less on actual benefits genetically, but it's indistinguishable. It's indistinguishable. Nevertheless, though many fantastical delusions were on display, I shall follow the article with an example from the debate on feminism, more were muted or avoided. So we didn't get the reality-denying laundry lists of the likes of Alex Kaiser. And the Bible was rarely cited as evidence or support of anything. even though it was clear from my discussion with attendees that they think it should have, and its being avoided appeared strategic. Wilson has often hinted that he doesn't really believe in Christianity and never intends to defend it, but merely construct its promotion on a basis of nihilistic will to power, as a means of bending society to his will for the greater good, or something. That explains a lot of what happened in our debate. And I'm not going to go into the rest of the article. It's a very, very long article. Fucking Richard is a writer by trade. So, if you want to go read his article, you can. It's on his website. You could also watch the debate on Modern Day Debate if you really want to pluck your eyebrows out like that. But my perspective on Andrew from the first time I started covering him on this channel has been one of a pathetic person who cannot fathom a world where he does not have a voice and wants to construct a world where everybody he doesn't like doesn't get a voice. He wants women not to vote, which is definitionally taking away their voice. Said at that point we're making the pedophile level of distinction. Right, but bear in mind, one of the criticisms that conservatives throw at liberals and lefties is that we call anybody we don't like a Nazi. So having a very, very strict definition of Nazi, I think, is perfectly reasonable. So, for me, a Nazi is somebody that has the eugenics belief, the nationalistic belief, and the willing to engage in violence utilizing the state belief. If they've got those, they've got enough for the Third Reich shit. If they don't have those, then I'm a little less convinced. I won't call them not evil, but I'll find a different word that has the same level of explanatory power. Said, holy shit, Ving Rhames collapsed at a restaurant. He played in Mission Impossible. Oh, I have no idea who that is. I haven't seen any Mission Impossible film. Sean says, my eyebrows aren't that bad. They're not the caterpillars that are Ben Shapiro's head, and I'm a freaking werewolf. Adele says, I don't think the definition games matter to these people. They'll just make up some other bullshit to try to call you out on. Right. Lenari says, is fascist too broad? Yes. So my definition of fascism, personally, is if we take Umberto Eco's essay and take his 14 points on fascism, if somebody has a supermajority of the qualities that are noted in Umberto Eco's fascism, then I am perfectly willing to call them a fascist. Not just over 50%, but a supermajority of them. They need to be in the over 60% range. Ideally closer to 80. Before I'm willing to use the word fascist. In his own essay, he actually pointed out that one of the aspects of fascism is the difficulty in which you can't really define it very well. It is part and parcel to how fascism operates. Harold says, fair, but as long as we both agree they won't give a fuck about our precision because it doesn't suit them. Right, I agree with that. I hold that standard for my own point. I hold that standard entirely for my own benefit, to know that I am doing my due diligence. The fact that somebody on the other side doesn't care about me doing my due diligence, I don't have to give a shit about. I already don't give a shit about their opinion. Jassa says, Trump hits all the branches and then continues to flagellate himself with the 14 branches. You know, it's funny that you use the word branch, because the actual, the actual meaning of the word fascist is a bundle of sticks or branches tied together. That's what the word means. This the actual, the original meaning of the word was a fascista, which is that you said branches, all the branches together, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, that makes perfect sense that you would use that word. That's what Mussolini did. Riverboat Jack, thank you so much for the raid. How was your stream? I'm not going to be allowed to leave here, am I? I'm never going to be allowed to leave. But you said, the thing under your skin? Yeah, I just think it's funny as a language thing, because to talk about fascism on my channel, I needed to have at least a rudimentary understanding of what it was, how it came to be, and how to use its definition. And while my memory is such that I have to keep reinforcing things to myself in order to make sure I don't get things wrong, on a previous video, I got something wrong on the King Critical response, where I said that it's actually a myth that we called dinosaurs reptiles and then called them birds. I got corrected from that in my chat. And I don't remember what my response to that was in the chat, but that was the one thing that people got mad at in the comment section for that as well. And yeah, I made a mistake there. Cool. No Rhino stream. Yeah, no Rhino stream right now. The fascist is also the etymological core of the F slur. Ah! Yep, all connected. Bundle of twigs, like if you... Or, sorry, Zor said... Yep, all connected like a bundle of twigs. Like if you look really close at what cigarettes look like. How did that also lead to wood for burning? Well, it's the bundle of twigs. The bundle of twigs gets used for beating, and then once it's been used up, you burn it. To be precise, birds are dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are reptiles. Jessa says, how do y'all know he's doing taxes? I didn't know, and I'm a mod. Because I said it, Jessa. I mentioned it. I said those words at the beginning of the stream. But I know it because he texted me. That's why I know it. Anyway. We've had our entire thing making fun of Andrew Wilson because he is not a person to be taken seriously, and he routinely shows that. Routinely. And yet, the Whatever Podcast and Modern Day Debate keep having him on. But the reason they keep having him on is because he generates clicks. He generates a lot of clicks. It's very, very easy to get clicks on a video if you are using him, because he makes people angry. Also, it's really funny that his wife was also in one of the debates, and her debate was that feminism is bad, so she has the really strong opinion that she shouldn't have an opinion. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitta, you know I'm not saying that last part, Sylvie Snow, Valis of Seraph, Ottoman Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.